The restaurant that almost died. Valery walked slowly through the empty restaurant one last time. The chairs were stacked. The lights were dim. The once lively place now felt like a forgotten building. 5 years ago, this restaurant had been his dream. He had opened it with almost nothing but a bank loan and endless nights of work. For a while, it worked. People loved the place. Families came for dinner, couples celebrated birthdays. Even business meetings happened at his tables. But everything changed 1 year ago. Across the street, a massive fast food chain opened. Bright lights, cheap meals, drive-through lines stretching around the block. And slowly, the customers stopped coming. At first, Valery believed people would get tired of it. Fast food can't replace real cuisine, he kept telling himself. But he was wrong. The restaurant became emptier each week. Then he discovered something worse. His own chef had been sabotaging the kitchen before leaving for another restaurant. Bad ingredients, careless cooking, ruined dishes. By the time Valery realized it, the damage was done. The reputation of the restaurant was already destroyed. He fired the chef immediately. After that, Valery tried to cook himself. He wasn't bad in the kitchen, but running a restaurant and cooking professionally were two completely different things. Soon, the debts started piling up. Now, he had only one option left: sell the place. He walked through the dining hall, looking at the tables that once held laughter and conversation. Now, there was only silence. He sighed. Only a small amount of food remained in the storage room. He planned to return in a few days and donate everything to a homeless shelter. At least something good could come out of this mess. Just as he turned to leave, he noticed movement near the bushes outside the back door. Someone was hiding there. Valery walked closer. Behind the bushes sat a woman with a little girl. The woman looked exhausted. Her clothes were clean but worn, and her eyes were filled with fear. The girl clutched her mother's arm tightly. Valery spoke gently. "Hey, why are you hiding here?" The woman quickly stood up. "I'm sorry. We didn't know the restaurant was closed. The waitresses used to give us food sometimes." She pulled the little girl closer. "We'll leave. Sorry." Valery frowned. "You don't have anywhere to go, do you?" The woman hesitated. Then she quietly answered, "No." Valery looked at them for a moment. They didn't look like homeless people. Something had clearly gone very wrong in their lives. He gestured toward the restaurant. "Come inside." The woman looked confused. "What?" Valery opened the door. "You can stay here for a while. There's food inside, a couch in my office. It's not perfect, but it's warm." The woman stared at him as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You would really let us stay here?" "Yes," he shrugged. "In exchange, maybe you could help clean the place a little." The woman smiled for the first time. "You won't recognize it after I'm done." 3 days later, Valery returned. He expected to see some cleaning done, but what he saw shocked him. The restaurant looked completely different. Tables were polished, floors shined. Fresh flowers sat on the side tables, and from the kitchen came the smell of incredible food. Valery walked inside. The little girl was helping set the table. "Hi," she said proudly. My mum cooked. Valery sat down and tasted the food. His eyes widened. It was better than anything his former chef had ever cooked. He looked at the woman. You're kidding me. Where did you learn to cook like this? She laughed softly. I just love cooking. Always have. Valery leaned back in his chair. If I had met you earlier, this restaurant might still be alive. The woman looked at him thoughtfully. Who says it's too late? Valery shook his head. You don't understand. If I try again and fail, I'll be drowning in debt. The woman didn't argue, but the disappointment in her eyes was obvious. The buyers. A week later, a potential buyer arrived, a wealthy banker. He wanted to inspect the restaurant before deciding. As they walked through the dining hall, the banker suddenly stopped. He sniffed the air. Something smells amazing. Valery hesitated. Well, someone cooked today. The banker sat down. When the food arrived, everyone went silent. The banker took one bite, then another. Then he leaned back and laughed. Whoever cooked this, you better never let them leave. Everyone looked at Valery. He called into the kitchen. Hey, could you come out here? The woman stepped into the dining hall. The banker stood up in surprise, but another man at the table jumped to his feet. You? The woman's face turned pale. That's my husband. The room went silent. Her husband sneered. So this is where you've been hiding. The banker frowned. You know her? The man laughed. Oh yeah, she used to be my wife. I kicked her out when I found someone better. The room became tense. The banker slowly stood up. I don't do business with men like that. He turned to Valery. No deal. The man exploded. You idiots will regret this! But Valery calmly replied, You're wrong. He looked at the woman. With a chef like her, this place might actually survive. 3 months later, the restaurant reopened. Not much had changed in the dining hall, but the kitchen had been completely rebuilt. The old staff returned. Customers started coming again because word spread fast. There was a new chef, and her food was unforgettable. One evening, Valery sat at a table while the little girl sat beside him eating ice cream. Mum won't let us in the kitchen, she whispered. Valery laughed. She doesn't let me in either. Just then, the woman walked out. She looked at them and shook her head. You two ate all that ice cream. They both looked guilty. Later that evening, they walked along the river. Valery suddenly stopped. You're officially divorced now? She nodded. Yes. He looked at her seriously. So, do you hate the idea of marriage now? She shrugged. I haven't thought about it. Valery smiled. Well, maybe you should. He pulled out a small ring. Because I already bought this. She stared at him in shock, and then she smiled. For the first time in a long time, everything finally felt right.